doors to our new library. This is your first time here. I hope you take an opportunity after the meeting to walk around and see all the new features that we have and really take it in. It's a wonderful facility that I think people are enjoying. And I want to thank you for coming out on this rainy night to come and share some of your thoughts and hear from the town as well about the senior services and things that we can do to help make life in Irondequoit better for some of our older residents. What we're here for tonight is this new study that the town is doing. It's the first of its kind for the town of Irondequoit, despite the fact that we're a community with a very high percentage of older residents who live here. We haven't really taken a minute to step back and say, how are we doing in terms of providing services to our senior residents? If you hear me talk around town a lot, I oftentimes refer to Irondequoit by our town motto that a lot of people don't know. The motto is actually a town for a lifetime. And I truly believe that, and the town board and I, and actually I forgot, John Perticone is here too. He's our deputy supervisor on our town board. So our town board, a lot of the decisions we make are based around that motto. So it's we try to make sure that we're addressing issues and making Irondequoit a better place for our young children, right up through our older residents, so that we can stay here. You can grow up in Irondequoit, and you can grow old in Irondequoit with your family and friends. Okay, so what we're doing today is we decided last year, when I first started and the town board got together early last year, we were looking at different ways we were spending, particularly our federal grant dollars that we get that can be spent on programs and services for older residents. And we said, I looked at it and said, there's a big patchwork of services that doesn't really seem to be coordinated. We're spending a lot of money, and some of it I think might have been good after bad, and it wasn't really coordinated to what residents might want to. So what we decided to do is take some of those grant funds, and we contracted with Lifespan, who's a well-known professionals in our community, to do a study. And what the study is going to do is focus on 3 areas. I'd like it to focus on 3 areas, but if there's other concerns, we can go in other directions. One of those areas is housing. It's a hot-button issue. We hear about it a lot. Where are we going to go when we grow older and can no longer live in our homes? Where do we live? There's not a lot of opportunities in Irondequoit. What type of housing do we need? Do we need market rate housing, low-income housing, condos? What kind of housing do we need? So it's to look at housing options in town. We also want to take a look at transportation. Right? Transportation is a big issue. How are we getting to things not just to our senior center, but how are we getting to things like the library, to the grocery store, to our medical appointments? And what kind of options are out there? Is public transportation working? Do we have the right bus stops? Are the programs that we fund through Medical Motors or FaithLink, which used to provide travel services, are we meeting the needs of where our residents need to go and go safely? And then the third issue is social services and other services. What do we do are we connecting people to the right services? If there's an older resident who's living home alone and they need some safety upgrades to their home, who do they call? If they need a ride for transportation, who do they call? Or if they have a question about their Medicaid or Medicare and they don't know. And so I want to make sure that we're providing that so that you can stay here in Irondequoit and be supported as well by your government. So to do that, we're going to do this study. And what the study is going to do is we want to hear from you about what you think is going well, what are we doing right, what are the upsides to being in Irondequoit. But then the other part, and I don't want you to be shy, part of making ourselves better is ripping off the Band-Aid and finding out what's wrong. I want to hear how we can do it better. What are your ideas? Where are we not meeting the needs of our seniors? And then the study is going to try to find that delta and see if it can make recommendations. We can't do everything, right? We can't be everything to everybody, but if we can try to see where that delta between what we have and what we need exists, make specific recommendations that can then help guide our funding and policy decisions that the town board is making to make sure that we're putting the limited resources that we have, that we're spending it wisely and spending it in a way that's benefiting you. So we have today Mary Rose McBride, who's here today from Lifespan. We also have Gabe Geiger here from Lifespan. They're going to lead the conversation today. So I'm not going to talk again. Actually, I have to step out for another function tonight. But what we're going to do as the town board, we're not going to talk to you tonight. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your ideas. And then these folks from Lifespan are going to put that together into a report. And the next step is to look at focus groups. We're going to put together focus groups on these areas that's going to take what they hear from our residents at these forums that we've been doing and we're going to start to dive a little deeper into what these issues are. Okay? So thank you again for all of you for being here today. We have a couple of members of the town staff here as well. If there's things that you didn't have a chance to talk about during the presentation today, I want you to feel free to talk to them. Also, my door is always open at Town Hall. I want you to feel free to stop in or come on up and talk to me at any time throughout this process, okay? Because we want to hear from everybody and make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So thank you very much for this. And thank you very much again. So, Mary Rose, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, is this on? It was on before. I think. They told me I have to use this. But he's going to come and see. Testing. How's that? Good. All right. So thank you very much. I'm so happy to see so many of you here. Last Tuesday, we were at the Laurelton Fire Department, which is an awesome facility too. But unfortunately, it was just me and somebody else from Lifespan and Adam and a couple other people from the town. So we didn't really have a good time. So I really am happy that all of you are here tonight. And we're very happy that Lifespan's been chosen to help do this study. How many of you have heard about Lifespan? Oh, awesome, because that's been my job for the last 23 years. Just making sure people know about us and what we do. We've actually been in the community since 1971. We used to be called the Regional Council on Aging. We changed our name 20 years ago because at the time we weren't regional, we weren't a council, and very frankly, we didn't like the word aging in our name. So we thought Lifespan was a much more vibrant name for us. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to spend just a few minutes because I've been delving into some of the demographics about Irondequoit. And I want to share some of those with you really quickly because demographics aren't always the most exciting topic in the world. And then Gabe's going to lead a discussion, and we want to hear from you, as Adam said. We want to know what's great about living in the town as an older adult. We want to know what could be better about living in the town as an older adult. And then we're going to share with you a little bit of information about, we're going to sort of vision a little bit and what other communities are doing to really become age-friendly, as the term goes right now. So let's start with a little bit of a snapshot of Irondequoit. So right now, this is your population in Irondequoit. 40% of you are 50 or older. And I'm going to compare that a little bit, so I'll do a little contrasting. In the United States, 32% of the population is 50 or older. In Irondequoit, it's 40%. In Monroe County, that number is 36%, so you're higher. 60 and older, 25.5% in Irondequoit. In the United States, that number is 19%. In Monroe County, that number's 21%. Wow. 65 and older, I'll go up there. In Irondequoit, 18.3%. In the United States right now, 13%. In Monroe County, 14%. 75 or older in Irondequoit, 10.3%. In the United States, 6%. In Monroe County, 7%. 85 and older in Irondequoit, 4%. In the United States and Monroe County, it's 2%. So you do have an aging population, which is not uncommon. A lot of the inner ring suburbs, you'll see in a minute that Gates really has some of those same issues. But you do have an aging population. It's sort of like me. I've been at Lifespan for 23 years, so I say I'm aging in place. And a lot of you are too. Yes. So this just breaks it down a little bit and shows you that the majority, 8% of the population from 50 to 85 and older is between ages 74 and 65. Now we can compare town by town by town, and we'll see that Irondequoit's over here. 60 and older, 25.5%. Gates is almost there, right there. You can see 65 and older. Actually, Gates is a little bit higher, 18.9%, and you're at 18.3%. 75 and older, Brighton's got you beat, and 85 and older also Brighton has you beat. But Brighton has a lot of senior living facilities, a lot of nursing homes, a lot of assisted living, that really brings that number up. Male, female is a different age segment. So for the 65 and older population, you can see at 60, with the 60 plus population, it's 57-43. 57% female, 43% male. And you know what? This audience kind of reflects this, but by the time you get to 85 and older, it's 70-30. Sorry, guys. It's kind of an eye-opener. It's one of the things that we look at a lot. A lot of the people we help at Lifespan are 75 or older. A lot of them are women living on their own. Marital status right now in Irondequoit for the 65 and older population, actually 7% of the population 65 and older has never been married. 9% are divorced. Almost 30% are widowed, widowers, so that's male, female. 53% are married currently, and 32% live alone. Now, these don't add up to 100% because some people are in multiple categories, but and that live alone statistic is about the same nationally. That's about the same rate, although it dramatically increases. In the United States, for women 75 and older, almost half live alone, 46%. Owning versus renting in Irondequoit, you can see that the great majority, 78%, own their own homes, 22% rent. And that's of about, well, not about, this is according to the U.S. Census, by the way, their last 2013 numbers, 6,177 residential units in Irondequoit. Bless you. Vehicles, 65 and older. Total units, they mean housing units with no vehicle, 9%. So about almost 10% of people don't have a vehicle. Renters, that would be 5%, and owner-occupied, 4%. So transportation is one of the main reasons people call Lifespan also. The poverty situation, nationally and locally, the rate's about 9%. Nationally, it's about 9.6% right now. People who live below the poverty line, anyone know what the poverty line for one person is? $11,700. Not a lot. Not a lot, yeah. At 100 to almost 150% of the poverty line, 10%. And that number, I've got to look up, is $16,000 for a single person and $24,000 for a couple. And 81% are living at 150% or more of the poverty line, so that's over $25,000 a year. The disability rate, again, this is all self-reported, some of this information. People report to the U.S. Census when they fill out their forms. No disability, about 70% or 69%. With a disability, 31%. And that could be a disability of any kind. That could be ambulatory, that could be sight, that could be hearing, that could be almost anything. So we'll break it down by ambulatory. And this is a dramatic difference. So between 65 and 74, only 1% of the population says they have an ambulatory difficulty. And at age 75, it increases to almost a quarter of the population, 75 and older. So that was a quick look at some of those statistics. I just wanted to share a couple other things with you. The average, the mean income income earnings for people 60 and older in Irondequoit, it's about $46,000. For 65 and older, it's $35,000. 26% of your housing stock, this won't be a surprise, was built before 1939. Only 10% of your housing stock was built later than 1970. So that's another issue we see a lot at Lifespan. You've got someone living in a two-story house that has the bathroom on the second floor and the washer and dryer in the basement, and all of a sudden the stairs are becoming more and more of an issue. My father likes to say, so he was in that situation, so he added a bathroom to the first floor. He bought the house in 1963 for $12,000. The bathroom he added cost $20,000. Right? He jokes about it. I don't think he so. So education. 23% of those 65 and older in Irondequoit have a college degree. 24% have had some college education. 32% have a high school degree. And 21% have actually a less than high school degree of people 65 and older. And here's one that I thought was interesting. Speaks English less than well, 8% of the population in Irondequoit, 65 and older. Speaks a language other than English, 15%. And 14% were foreign born. All interesting numbers. But enough of that. So I get into all the statistics, but the real meat of our conversation is we really want to hear from you. So Gabe, my cohort in crime here, is going to lead you in a discussion, and we're going to write down everything you say. Oh, and by the way, we handed out those sheets of paper for you, because if you don't want to say something here in public, write it down on those little pieces of paper and hand them to us at the end. If there's anything that crosses your mind you want to add, put down, ask a question about, write it on those little quarter sheets of paper, or half sheets of paper. Also, there's a sign-in sheet going around. If you could keep that going around during this, that would be really helpful to us. So I'm going to turn it over to Gabe.
Thank you, Mary Rose. Okay, so Mary Rose is actually going to be our scribe. So the ideas that you're coming up with, we're going to record them. And so the first question up is, what's great about living in Irondequoit as an adult?
It's safe to walk so far.
So far, what does that mean? Okay, good ideas, sir?
Sidewalks and streetlights.
Sidewalks and streetlights. A lot of towns don't have sidewalks. Yeah. Ma'am, what did you say? Ah, streetlights. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at what's great about living in Irondequoit right now, okay? Okay, hang on. Yes, ma'am.
Well, where I live, I can walk over to Wegmans to Irondequoit Plaza, and I like being close to the city but not in the city, and I like having parks nearby.
Lots of green space, right? Beautiful parks here. You like your neighbors. Excellent. Yes, ma'am. Back here, Red?
I was going to say,
Oh,
our natural resources.
natural resources. What do you mean by that?
The lake.
Lake and the bay? Now, did you know that? Did you know that Irondequoit has got there's a special place. Irondequoit is a peninsula. Did you know that it was a peninsula? Peninsula, you got water on three sides. Okay, some other ideas in the back. Yes, ma'am.
I cycle, and everything that I'm doing now, at my age, the streets are not hilly, and it's a wonderful place to walk and to cycle.
Yes, thank you.
I'm very fortunate.
Yep. Some other ideas in the back?
The people are very
in the front. Friendly people. Beautiful library. Right? I'm sorry? You're near the zoo. Now, is the zoo in the city or is it in Irondequoit? Okay. All right, so what's working? What's working for you? Good police department. Good. Fire department. Great fire department. Fire departments. How many fire departments? 5 fire departments. Wow. I'm sorry, somebody else said something here?
Our town council appears to listen to issues.
Yes, that's important. Farmers market here, right? Yep.
My husband and I enjoyed the senior center. We love each other, but it's nice to have some other people to talk to at lunchtime.
Nice, I like that. Nice commentary. Yes, ma'am. Okay, good. Yes, ma'am, in the blue.
I-Square is great. It's a community center now. There's a lot of activity there, so I-Square is great.
Nice restaurants, absolutely. Nice development. Ma'am in the back.
I know Rochester General is city, it's close enough to this town, you got a big, nice, good hospital.
Nice hospital, medical facilities,
Other healthcare.
doctor's offices, and so forth. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Schools with continuing education programs.
Continuing education at the schools. The best high school in West Irondequoit. Okay. Any other ideas here? East Irondequoit High School. Okay. That's right. Irondequoit is a big area. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, ma'am.
The Helmer Nature Center,
Elmer Nature Center.
both the adults and the children.
Yes. Very nice. Any other ideas? That's a pretty good list. Did you get all those, Mary Rose? All right, next question. What would make it even a better place to age well? So some other ideas that would work for you that maybe is not existing right now in Irondequoit. Transportation. Better transportation.
What do you mean by example, trade car for rides? Oh, what's that mean?
We're going to get to that. Sorry.
Okay.
No, but if they had any programs that were kind of free, like the other program that got canceled out, or ran out of funds, at least give you a couple rides a month if you had those.
Right. So different types of transportation opportunities, okay?
Shopping downtown for the arts.
Shopping downtown for the arts,
I've only been down there once,
okay?
but you have to snag somebody to go with you.
Yeah, if you wanted to go to Jiva or something.
Jiva, okay? Yep. There were some other ideas? Yes, ma'am?
As we age and we can no longer take care of our houses, the only option we have if we want to stay in a rented place is to go into a rental. I would like to see townhouses or condos so that we could still maintain our own place, still have our own,
Right.
you know, it's ours.
Right.
It's not, you're not shelling out money to some rental. And not luxury ones.
Not
No,
luxury ones, okay. Something that's your own,
Yes, that's
Yes.
your own, but it's comfortable,
yes,
but
okay.
not luxury.
Right. Yes, ma'am?
Some sort of a resource that if you needed your lawn mowed or in order to stay in place. And I don't know about it, maybe there is, maybe it's lifespan.
Well, you know, a couple of years ago, I remember there was a program called Rent-A-Kid. Anybody remember that? Yeah. They've all aged. Any other ideas? Yes, ma'am.
I think our senior center should be able to meet all the seniors' needs, which they're not.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to see something more than a senior center. I would like to see a community center,
so that we're not segregating our seniors.
Yes.
That we would give them more opportunity to interact with all age groups.
Like maybe a multi-aging resource center. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, our athletics around here are
One of the things is that our insurances that cover Silver Sneakers and Silver and Fit, the local athletic centers don't provide the programs that we could utilize with those insurances. And a couple of them that had Silver and Fit or Silver Sneakers is closed. So anybody who really needs exercise during the winter or something, it is very difficult to do here.
Right.
And it's not Irondequoit's fault, it's just the
Right.
way it is. And like they're saying with the gym, or with the Y, we have to go out. And one of the insurances that covers these, one of the ones they said, well, you have 7 curves. And I said, well, that's great, but no men are allowed at curves.
Right.
And not a lot of the curves
Right.
have gone out of this.
Yep. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing. Any other ideas? Yes, ma'am.
I think we need to be sure we have what we need for senior housing, assisted living. We had a neighbor we dearly loved who needed assisted living. He very much wanted to stay in Irondequoit, and the assisted living didn't, he couldn't find it in Irondequoit, ended up going to Greece, and he felt like he was going to the other side of the world. And he really didn't want to be there.
Well, it's only the other side of the river.
But that's
No, I understand. I understand. Ma'am, you had a point.
Yes, I would like to see more affordable housing for renters. So much of the housing is above our level.
Right. So affordable housing, okay.
And there's only like one place where we can live that we can afford.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and also I think of an indoor walking track would be nice.
Indoor walking track. I think that would be great, especially in the next couple of months. Right? The mall. Yes, ma'am. Transportation to, yes.
But how am I going to get there? In the winter, I drive in good weather, and I stay off the road.
I think the senior center may have transportation to the senior center.
The driver's right here.
At their hours. Okay. Yes, okay.
You call, we haul.
What did you say, sir?
I said, all she's got to do, you call and we haul.
Okay. Okay. Some other ideas.
Questions about, you know,
You're-
putting changes in our insurance and such.
Okay, I'm going to send you a check in the mail. Okay? Because can I do a shameless plug here? So one of the services that Lifespan offers is called HICAP, which stands for Health Insurance Information Counseling and Assistance Program. We help people to determine what is the best option for them for health insurance. It is a free program. You can call us, 244-8400, and you can ask your questions. We'll help you to decide what is the best policy for you. We have one-on-one counseling, and we also provide Medicare 101 sessions. 244-8400. And there are some brochures back there about HICAP. How would you get?
We used to have it in our contracts. We used to have somebody there.
We can bring it here. We can set up a counseling center here if we can arrange it with the town. We'd be happy to do that. Yep. Right now? You want it right now, this moment?
He's the director of that whole program, so.
That's my shameless plug. Yes, ma'am.
Well, bringing up that if you ran the program here, is how the communication gets to the seniors. See,
We have no monthly mailing. If you don't need to look on the website to see if there's something for the seniors. And some of us just happened to have read the Irondequoit Press post last week, which was the only reason we knew about tonight. I didn't see it anywhere else, and then we all shared it.
Okay, so
So which might have been why you didn't have anybody at Laurelton.
I know about it.
And also the time, I think it's just much better during the day for most people than having night meetings.
well, interestingly, let me just digress a little bit. We did have a meeting during the day, and you have a lot more people here in the evening, which is very interesting. But anyway,
Word travels by now.
is that it? Okay,
And
all
I
right.
think maybe people didn't know about that meeting.
Could be, could be. Yes, ma'am.
Just another point about communication. A lot of seniors don't have computers, so that kind of takes them out of that loop of
Sure.
being able to check the website.
Yeah. But I think,
What would be a good way to communicate with you?
I think to
Robocalls.
have a committee and have people
Volunteer.
talk. Yes.
Or if you had like,
There's a lot of you.
there's a lot of people up there. I remember seeing that.
local areas that maybe could hand distribute flyers. Or someone brought up before we came here that if you knew like the third Monday afternoon of the month, there was always a meeting, the topics might change, but at least you would know to come the third Monday of every month to hear.
Good ideas. Okay, lots of questions. Yes, sir.
My name is Bill McDonald, and a woman mentioned the transportation program that ended, and I had to jump up here and mention that the town of Irondequoit actually restarted that program in August, and it's through Medical Motor Service, which was the organization that ran it before with Irondequoit FaithLink. And so we obviously have to get a better word out about that, but it's the same type of program, taking people to medical appointments or to shopping or to visit someone who's in a nursing home or in some kind of care facility. So
Is it free?
the town, it is free. It depends on income. And I wish I had brought stuff with me, but it's free for most of the people that ride because the town is actually kicking in. Money to make it free for people that fall within certain income guidelines.
You have to apply?
Yeah, like before, same as before.
Well, I don't know before.
Yeah, well, before you had to, yeah, right. So you call Medical Motor Service, and we send out an application, and then you can set up your rides from that point on.
What's your lead time?
Once you're enrolled in the program, like 2 days ahead of time.
See, there's nothing for emergency business. Like if you're really ill, remember the phone.
Well, if you call us, if you had emergencies, we tell people to call 911. But same day, you can if you call us by noon. My staff will kill me for this, but if you call us by noon the day before, we can usually work it in. But the rules of the program for the Irondequoit program are like 2 days. But we're trying to help people here. We're not trying to put up barriers. But I just because somebody mentioned it, I wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Bill.
Sorry.
Where do we go for that?
Medical Motor Service, and our number is 654-7030. Or you can call the old FaithLink number, which I don't know by heart. And I came to listen. I didn't come to talk, but I wanted to, because it's important to know that the town of Irondequoit stepped up and is funding this program for one more year. The town supervisor felt a commitment to older adults in the town, so it's a great resource.
Okay, I think there were 3 other hands up in this area.
I was going to say that as far as I know, everybody in Irondequoit gets
Irondequoit Post and it's.
No.
All you have to do is call, it's free for everybody.
That's true, it is free for everybody. Yeah. Okay. All right, some other ideas? Sir, you had your hand up?
I just think for a lot of these ideas, some sort of an ombudsman's office is necessary. A place where people can go with one-stop shopping that can connect them to. And I know Lifespan, for example, does that for the whole community.
Yeah.
But we're talking about replicating that on a more local level that is specific to the situation, to transportation, that, you know, because very often we don't know that things are available that, because, for example, somebody said before, we have a wonderful set of churches and synagogues and mosques in this community. They're great means of communication, but I'm not sure they're always well used. But an ombudsman office, I think, would think more in those directions. Posting things in senior centers, posting things where seniors go, like donut shops and Wegmans and bagel places and stuff.
All right, good answer. Yes, ma'am.
I know there are some libraries that have, there's one in particular, I think it's the Webster Library, that has a section where they have a senior section where they have, information. They have things that, they have a rack where they have current things, and so that might be another option.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make, you're talking about finding information out through the town, and I'm thanks Sarah for giving this to me. But if you can call the program director at the senior center down at Pine Grove, Marcy, and some of the things that this gentleman's talking about. She's got a lot of information.
No,
so,
she does not call you back, John.
No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't.
Well, I'm sorry,
Called her twice.
I would go. Then, if not, I would call Sarah. You know what I mean? Because usually, Marcy's got some information she could help you out. On rides and things like that. So.
I'm not impressed.
Okay.
I'm not impressed with how it's run.
Okay.
All right, ma'am? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. I think any other one more hand.
The senior center has a social worker there on a very limited basis. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like 2 hours twice a month. But if you're desperate, it's
So outside of the social worker being there, you could always call Lifespan at 325-2800. And actually that's ElderSource, but certainly there's assistance there for you in many different forms. But any other ideas? Ma'am?
They should have more information on the IPA channel on TV.
I agree.
The cable station.
Tonight was not on there.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're winding down on this part. I think Mary Rose might have... Mary Rose, what are you talking about?
So those are all really, really great ideas, and it's, it strikes me as so I don't know, because in this age of communication, right, there's so many methods of communication that we still all struggle with communication. We hear it at work all the time. We're 100 people in 15,000 square feet, and people say, I don't know what that person does. So it's always constant, right? Trying to get the word out, trying to let people know what's available. And we take some responsibility for that too. We do 30, 35 different services at Lifespan, and I have a bit of money to advertise what we do, and it's really hard to get that message across. And I'm sure the town feels the same way. They have resources, the senior center has resources. It's just letting people know at that moment that when they need it, that where to go to get it. So it's always complex. It's always complex. So right now, those were all excellent ideas. We're going to look at a little bit of what the future might look like. There's some ideas nationally and even globally, because aging is not just a United States issue. The whole world, many countries are aging, just like the United States is. So we just want to talk about some things to think about. And there's some examples we're going to go through. For example, with transportation, there's a model program, I'm sure Bill knows it, who runs Medical Motors, where basically you could give up your car and basically trade it in for vouchers that you could use for transportation. So if your car is worth $5,000, you get $5,000 worth of transportation. Housing, yes, we all want housing that's safe, that's affordable. With so many of your houses built before 1939, 1950, 1960, some of them will have to be retrofitted. We was it 2 weeks ago? We had a wonderful couple come to one of our sessions. They were 88 and 85, and they went to visit all of the senior living facilities. They had lunch at all of them, and they came home and decided they don't want to be segregated like that. So they're making a plan to retrofit their house. They're going to bring their bedroom into their dining room. They're going to do the bathroom downstairs on the first floor. And the only thing they can't figure out is where to put the washer and the dryer. So, but they're committed to staying there. And one of the things we do at Lifespan is we come out and we do some minor home modifications to prevent falls. So things like that. Social participation, yes, we need centers for the 21st century. Lifespan has 3, we don't call them senior centers. One we call a cafe. It's at the Maplewood Y. We have centers within YMCAs now. We've got one in Gates, one in Penfield, and one at the Maplewood Y that actually some Irondequoit residents go to. It's a very vibrant place. We serve healthy lunches, can exercise. There's all kinds of activities. But we need to keep that social participation factor up. We need to keep people from being isolated in their homes and in their communities.
They meet at Transfiguration Church on Culver Road, and it's the second Wednesday of the month. And anybody's welcome. The only thing it ever costs is like maybe $2 or $3. That's it. They have speakers, and they also play card games after. The second one is called XYZ, and it's at St. John's Lutheran Church, and it is the 4th Tuesday of the month. And it's at 12, well, sometimes 10, because they also have speakers.
So there's 2 examples for you right here in the town that you might not know about. Civic participation and employment. What we're seeing is that people aren't retiring as young as they used to. They're going to keep working, or they're going to retire from their main careers, and they're going to want a part-time job. We used to run a little program called Bridge to Employment, where people could come and learn about part-time jobs in retirement. Unfortunately, we had funding ran out for it, and we had to stop it, but the groups were always full. And then, of course, access to support services like Lifespan and healthcare services is important. Got to consider indoor and outdoor spaces. You've got to see what they look like. You've got to have benches and bathrooms. Got to have that safe passage. So you've got to have pavement and sidewalks that work. You got some communities do a walkability survey. We were talking before. Some streets have streetlights, some don't. I think there's all sidewalks in Irondequoit, probably. A lot of places now are doing these audio-visual countdowns at lights to cross the street. Out in College Town in the city, they've put those in. What? By the hospital? There's a thing called road diets, where you put the road on a diet, really. Instead of these 6-lane things that you have to cross, you maybe put a median in the center, or you put jut-outs so that there's less traffic that you actually have to cross. A town center, you are all talking about I-Square. That's important. Vetted contractors and handy persons. It's a question we get at Lifespan a lot. Our lawyers won't let us do lists like that. But I know that my neighborhood, for example, has a Facebook page that's very used, and people always are asking, so who's a good roofing contractor, and who's a good plumber, and who can you recommend? It's a lot of word of mouth, unfortunately, but it's important to have those things. Who's going to take out the air conditioner? I'm looking for somebody right now.
The light over here will walk across the town hall here. That light is so short for somebody to walk. You don't even get halfway across the street, it's already turned off.
Okay, well, that's got to be changed because that's how you get here. Age-friendly businesses. This is another movement across the country to really certify small businesses or any business for really being elder-friendly. We do an elder-aware session for people where they can see what it's like to have an eyesight problem, like macular degeneration, or they can actually hear what it's like to have a hearing problem, so that maybe there's less frustration with people when they can't hear or can't see, or they need the directions, a couple of different times. This sort of came up a little bit earlier, but having an older adult advisory committee to town government. Maybe that's something that meets on an ongoing basis to give recommendations. Neighbors helping neighbors in naturally occurring retirement communities. There's a governmental thing called a NORC. It's a naturally occurring retirement. You are what's left of it? Okay. We had a NORC right here in Irondequoit, and do we still? No. Okay. Okay. Where a certain percentage of the people are over a certain age 60. But the federal government requirements to meet that are crazy. So what's been happening in some neighborhoods, like Browncroft and Azalea in the city, is the neighbors are kind of developing their own informal NORCs, like just supporting each other. So neighbor A can drive and is available on Wednesdays to drive people to appointments. Neighbor B loves to cook and will make a meal for somebody once in a while. So that kind of thing is happening naturally in some areas. And then intergenerational opportunities. Again, that couple we spoke with the other night absolutely refuses, living among people of all ages was very, very important to them. So they refuse to move into a community that just has, people like their own age. So keeping things intergenerational is also important. So next steps. This has all been wonderful feedback tonight. You've got those little sheets of paper. If there's other ideas, comments, questions that you have, give them back to us. We are going to be doing very specific focus groups in October with small groups of people, 10, maybe 12 people in a group. If any of you would like to join that, let us know. We're going to hold 3 of them, and we're going to do it specific to age groups. So we're going to do like age, what are we doing? 40, 50, I can't remember. 50 to 64, and then 65 to 74, and then we're going to be, so we're going to segment it. And we'll be spending like 2 hours talking about these kinds of issues. We're going to do a town survey in November, so we'll be putting it out, yes, electronically, but also in paper. We'll have it in different places like the library, the senior center, and different places people congregate, hopefully in churches and synagogues. And then lifespan, as Adam said, we'll prepare a report to the town that'll be done sometime probably in the first part of the year, so that we can they can look at what's really needed and what the town can make budget decisions about. How can we enhance some services right here? Carrie. Okay.
So I'll give that information as well. I'm Carrie Ivers. I'm the Planning and Zoning Administrator here at the town. So for the focus groups, if you're interested, and this is something that folks need to sign up for, and we'll make sure there's a poster posted here at the library and at the senior center and as many other and town hall as well. So there's a phone number you can call or an email address you can use if you're interested in participating as a focus group member. So on October 13th, The group with the age group of 60 to 74 would be meeting at 3 p.m. here in the library in one of the meeting rooms. That same day, October 13th, if you're in the 50 to 60-year-old range, and even younger than that, if you're a caregiver and are interested in participating, that group is meeting at the town hall in the Broderick room at 5:30. The next morning, on October 14th, 75 and older would be meeting at Pine Grove Senior Center at 10:30 a.m. And again, these are a focus group. It's a small group session, more intense, sort of deeper dive into issues. I do want to point out, and I'm not trying to steal the show, but at Planning and Zoning, another project separate from the senior study, we're doing a town-wide active transportation plan that's going to be looking at bicycle, pedestrian, and transit access throughout the town. It's going to be looking at things like what the needs are and access, and being able to encourage people to bike, walk, and use non-car access more. And so that meeting is happening actually tomorrow night, same time, same starting time, 7 p.m. in this location where you are. So if active transportation is something you're interested in, I'd encourage you to come see me tomorrow. Well, not me. We have a consultant team that's leading that effort. Pine Grove is October 14th at 10:30 a.m., and that's the 75 and older age group. I'll hand that right out to you right now. No, the phone number, the number that we've set up just for the senior study, are you ready for it? So 467-8840. You might recognize that as the town hall main number. The extension is 1900. And it'll go to voicemail, and we just need you to leave your name, your phone number, and that's probably a good start. Well, that's for the senior study. So the number I just gave you is if you're interested in the senior study and you want either more information or you want to participate in the next phase of the focus group, that's the best number to call. I can give you the email address if anybody wants to email their interest. It's seniorstudy at irondequoit.org. And we're going to post all this on a flyer at the multiple locations, and we'll put it on the website as well.
So it's important to remember, if you want to participate in a focus group, you have to let us know. You have to call, because we can only accept because it's a small group kind of setting. We can only accept a certain number of people.
Are you going to do another focus group? Because I won't be able to go to the one for my age.
Okay, so is there something that, I was going to say, as a planner, my thought would be anything that you really are very interested in, or issues that you would have wanted to discuss in more detail at a focus group level, I would encourage you to either call and speak, and make arrangements to share that information with one of us, either town staff or the project team, or if you feel comfortable and you want to put that in writing in an email, that'd be a great way to share your input and your ideas.
I did give some to the superintendent.
Okay, so those are two really great ways, so that if you can't participate. The other thing, and Mary Rose can speak to this, I think the reason the focus groups are divided by age group is that we want to sort of understand if and what needs are different based on where you are, and if they change, and we have something, and maybe they're not, but maybe they are, and it's helpful for us to understand how the age maybe impacts need.
Well, I think when you said, like, I'm 75, okay? So when you say that from 75 to, a lot of us are young 75.
So you could come to the other. Yes. You could come to the other one.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Basically,
Yes.
It's like a lot of some of the needs are not going. I feel bad that I'm going to be to an Eastern Star convention, otherwise I would be there.
And we understand that point completely. Yeah. So if you'd like to participate, do call that number, and we will be calling people back about the focus groups. I wanted to make, I'm sorry. and choose the age you feel. I want to make sure that everybody has signed the sign-in sheet. Okay. Yes?
I'm going to survey older folks who don't go to Wegmans, who don't go to, well, you didn't say Wegmans, but that was ours. Come to the library, or who may be isolated at home.
We've actually thought about doing a mailing also. I don't know if yes. Or we could do an insert into the Irondequoit Post. So different things. Mailing is better.
Especially with the town address on it, there's more apt to open it.
Okay.
I think if you just put lifespan on it, they might not even be aware of what it's for.
Okay. Good feedback.
My husband and I are both legally blind. We can't see what you write, what you have on the TV. We can't read the Irondequoit Post. We need something else that would come to our home, like a mailing, that we could put under a magnifier machine. And there's a lot of other people in the town who have the same problem with macular degeneration or other blindness issues. Unless something comes to their home where someone can read it to them, they aren't going to know about any of us.
So we could work with ABVI on that. And it's not like we would know where people are, but we could say on the survey that materials are available like that, and we could work with ABVI in doing that.
Well, with the list I just signed for our attendance, we have a good cross-section of the whole town here. So I think the neighborhoods could be broken down where you'd have maybe 4 or 5 people. If you received a note or something, you could go out and extend that word verbally.
Great.
And so if you use this list wisely, it'll work.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else hasn't signed the sign-in list? Okay. If there are no more questions, I really want to thank you for coming out tonight. We didn't want to have this go too late. So feel free to hand us your little sheets of paper. Don't forget those. And thank you again.